Mail-in ballots. He was fine with it.
Well, it was because his Republican strategists were panicking because they realized that they were going to lose without getting those mail-in ballots now. And I would imagine this time around, those same Republican strategists are also panicking because if he goes out there and starts to spread the word that mail-in ballots aren't going to work, these are going to be a real problem in the midterms for those Republicans.
All right, guys. So in this video, Sam Seder and Phillip team up on CNN to completely dismantle Trump's idea to ban mail-in voting. They break down why it's not just wildly undemocratic, it's literally impossible. Let's get into it.
Tonight, Donald Trump plays a throwback, declaring that he'll lead a movement to eliminate mail-in ballots.
Mail-in ballots are corrupt. Mail-in ballots, you can never have a real democracy with mail-in ballots. And we, as a Republican Party, are going to do everything possible that we get rid of mail-in ballots. We're going to start with an executive order that's being written right now by the best lawyers in the country to end mail-in ballots because they're corrupt. And you know that we're the only country in the world, I believe, I may be wrong, but just about the only country in the world that uses them because of what's happened. Massive fraud all over the place.
Mail-in ballots are not corrupt. Fraud rates in federal elections are tiny, and dozens of countries use mail-in voting, despite what Trump claims. So why is the president suddenly so amped up about this again? Well, apparently someone got in his ear. Someone with a history of fair elections and a wealth of knowledge when it comes to election integrity.
Vladimir Putin, smart guy, said you can't have an honest election with mail-in voting. And he said there's not a country in the world that uses it now.
Yes, Mr. President, he would know because you'll recall that Vladimir Putin changed Russia's constitution to remain in power. Many of his opponents are either dead or in prison or in exile. Russia is notorious for vote tampering, restrictions on monitors, and rampant voter intimidation. And yes, Russia has interfered with America's elections. But perhaps the most important point is that it's unclear what the administration could actually do to end mail-in voting, since that power belongs to the states. Just ask the Constitution. Joining us in our fifth seat at the table is Sam Seder, host of the Majority Report. I don't know if President Trump forgot that he did this, but let me just play it. This is September 2024, about a year ago, when he said this to his own supporters.
You know that absentee ballots are about to go out in North Carolina? In other words, it's time to start thinking about let's vote. So important. This will be the most important election in the history of our country. So whether it's mail-in ballots, early voting, voting on the day, you got to get out and vote. We want to save our country. We're the only one going to save it. That other group of people, they're going to destroy our country. We can't let that happen. Go out and vote for Trump.
Mail-in ballots. He was fine with it.
Well, it was because his Republican strategists were panicking because they realized that they were going to lose without getting those mail-in ballots now. And I would imagine this time around, those same Republican strategists are also panicking because if he goes out there and starts to spread the word that mail-in ballots aren't going to work, these are going to be a real problem in the midterms for those Republicans, plus the fact that he has no authority to do this. I mean, he tried to pass he wrote up an executive order a couple of months ago to deal with the voting, and he got shot down by 2 different federal judges. So there's really there's no path for him here, and it's sort of fascinating that all it takes is one suggestion from Putin. I mean, what were they doing talking about 2020 during these meetings? Like, he's like a cat. Like no object permanence here.
Where were the staff to remind the president that it's actually not true what he claimed, which is that the federal government let me just read it actually. Remember, the states are merely an agent for the federal government in counting and tabulating the votes. They must do what the federal government, as represented by the President of the United States, tells them for the good of our country to do. That is not at all what the Constitution says. You know that because you're a conservative.
Abby, I agree with you. States have a huge role to play when it comes to elections. We also know that in 2020, as a result of the COVID pandemic, a lot of states went very aggressively in the direction of mail-in ballots.
Which they are entitled to do because they are in charge of the time, manner, manner of the elections. They are in charge of that.
Even the U.S. Election Assistance Commission has studied mail-in ballots and said that there are a certain percentage, I believe like 500,000, that probably aren't ultimately delivered to their final destination. So I'd put this question to all of you. If you won the New York lottery, would you mail in your $1 million winning lotto ticket, or would you want to take it physically to the office to cash it in? I think if anybody wants to ensure that their vote is counted, the best way to do it. Well, then what about what?
But that was. Did you think about that all day? That was
Man, Sam is totally right about this. It's like we're stuck watching the same scary movie with Trump, and he's not even trying to hide the script anymore. The guy looks up to dictators, praises leaders like Putin, and talks down to countries that actually believe in freedom. And now he's straight up saying he wants American elections to run like they do in Russia, where the winner is basically picked ahead of time. That's not politics, that's a warning. He's telling us exactly what he wants to do, and it goes against everything this country stands for. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And Trump isn't just showing us, he's spelling it out loud.
What about the Democrat Attorney General of New Jersey, who just an hour from here in Paterson, New Jersey, there was corruption and they're investigating voter fraud because there was a politician who used mail-in ballots to try to steal the election.
Voting is like I like the lottery. Let's talk about why that analogy was just terrible. So like voting is a right, and playing the lottery is a privilege, right? Those are two vastly different things. And the right means that you should make it free and fair. Everyone should have access to it. We should actually be trying to make voting as easy as possible so that we're more inclusive. Things like Oregon is what we should be talking about, where they have Tobias Read and automatic voter registration. That's where we should be going with this, not necessarily trying to crack down on it. Yes, we want to eliminate voter fraud, but if we want to go back to 2020, and the great irony in this, and I haven't heard neither one of you all have said a bad thing about Vladimir Putin tonight. Neither one of you all. And Vladimir Putin is someone who literally has killed his enemies, has killed his political opponents, has pushed them off roofs and poisoned them and all of these things. And he is the one who said that this is something you should deal with. And he went on Sean Hannity and
I
quoted
did say, by the way, that I believe the first comment I made was that he was a tyrant and shouldn't be trusted.
You're drifting from.
You know what?
You're drifting with
I
Vladimir
give you
Putin.
credit. I was
This
really
is not
talking
about Vladimir Putin. This is about voter fraud.
Say something bad about Vladimir Putin.
That is
He's a
about
bad
voter
guy.
fraud. But let's hear
Not just
one
Paterson.
example.
I'm going to give you 5. In Paterson, New Jersey is the one.
Just 5?
No, more.
That's it?
I found a bunch.
How many votes are we
Sioux
got?
City, Iowa, North Carolina 9, 2018, Appalachia, Virginia 2006, Miami mayor was overturned in 97, Bridgeport, Connecticut was just overturned.
Okay.
Not every ballot.
So Joe, tell
Let me
me
finish that.
where
Not every ballot.
Tell me the degree to which mail-in voting fraud was enough to change the result of a presidential election. Where is that?
I can't pronounce the name. In Michigan,
of a
in Miami,
presidential election.
But not every election is about the presidential race. We also elect people at the state, federal, and local level.
But
the point I'm trying to make is,
Trump
Abby,
is making this statement
let me finish the
based
point.
on his own experience.
Let me finish the point. Not every ballot mailed in is fraud. But it's almost always the case where you have fraudulent ballots. It's done not just by mail ballots, but paper ballots, absentee ballots. So if the president wants to secure ballot integrity in a better way, I am 100% for this. Now, you all, last segment, were so worried about the MAGA base and how they would react to troops on the ground.
Can I
just
ask a
clarifying
clarifying question
thrilled
of
about
you,
this.
Joe? You said you're all for what the president wants to do, but he is saying he wants to federally, he wants the president by decree to ban mail-in voting in this entire country. Are you for that?
No idea how I was going to do that.
Okay, are you for that? Because you just said that you're for what
I'm
he
willing
wants
to
to
wait
do.
for the executive order and see if
You
it's
just said
valid.
you're for what he wants to do.
If he figures out a way to meet the requirements of the court that struck it down previously, if he figures out a way to do it, I'm for it.
He can't, though.
If he can't, then he can't. But it's a thing that I would hope, and I've actually supported the New York State legislature in doing this. I would write a check to the South Carolina legislature.
Let me ask you a
if they were
question. Are
supporting
you in favor of when you turn 18, you're automatically registered to vote?
But you're acting like mail-in. You're acting like mail-in. Hold on. You're
that?
acting like mail-in ballots are something universal. Trump was wrong. It wasn't one country. You were wrong too. It's not dozens. It's 12. 12 countries on planet Earth.
You know, it's wild Sam's hitting on something so obvious, yet so many people miss it. Why make voting harder unless you're scared of what happens when everyone actually gets a say? It's pretty clear when turnout is high, some agendas just don't win. And that scares them. They love shouting facts over feelings, but then turn around and push this giant lie about voter fraud, something study after study has shown is barely even a thing. Most cases, they're honest mistakes. Someone votes in the wrong precinct, fills out a form wrong, not some organized plot to steal elections. But they'll take one mix-up and spin it like it's some nationwide conspiracy, even when it's often their own voters making the errors. At the end of the day, this isn't about protecting elections. It's about protecting power. Plain and simple.
No, that's
12
actually not.
12 have universal.
Well,
22 have other ways of getting it not universal. So that's 34. That's 15% of the countries on Earth.
Joe, we also don't have universal mail-in ballots. We don't have that.
In some
so
states.
The idea that, listen, it's not 12, okay, but there are over 30 countries in the world that have mail-in and ballot voting, A. And B, to your point, Sam, Donald Trump is messing with something that his voters use, okay? 24% of Republicans used mail-in ballots in the 2024 election. That is a little bit down from 2020 when there was a pandemic, but it just goes to show that you then take those voters, some of them are in the villages in Florida, they're in Utah where they automatically send mail-in ballots to every registered voter.
Right.
You're taking those Republican voters and you're saying to them, we're going to make it harder for you to vote. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Putin said it was a good idea. Like, also, if you're going to get away with eliminate all mail-in voting, then what happens to the individuals who in New York State are on the permanent absentee list? Those who are disabled, those who are senior citizens who can't get to the poll. So are disabled people then totally disenfranchised if they're unable to get to the polls? Is that what the president really wants to do? I mean, this is bad for him politically, but it is bad for democracy, and the just absurdity that it came from a meeting with Putin just adds insult to injury.
Conservatives have been talking about the problems of mail-in voting.
We're going to do this for the military as well.
But he said it.
The military votes mail-in ballots.
Yes, that's right.
The military votes?
In the last iteration of this, it wasn't.
Well, I don't understand. If it's not secure for citizens, why isn't it not secure for the military?
Again, I'm not saying anyone can make an election completely secure from any fraud. I'm just saying that in many instances, which I laid out earlier, just the top 10 I could find, right? The universal method was through paper ballots, whether it's absentees or whether it's mail-in ballots.
So now you want to get rid of all.
Don't put words in my mouth. We do have to hit pause on this conversation.
See, this is the part they always leave out. It's not just Democrats who benefit from mail-in voting. It's their own voters, too. A huge chunk of Republicans vote by mail, especially older folks in places like Florida or veterans and military families who rely on it. Is Trump really willing to tell them, sorry, your vote doesn't count anymore? Good luck with that. And let's be real, this isn't just politics. It's cruel. What about seniors who can't easily get to polling places? Or people with disabilities? Or troops stationed overseas? Are we just gonna silence their voices because someone's pushing a conspiracy? This whole thing feels less like a policy and more like a power move straight out of Putin's playbook. He's so focused on winning that he's willing to break the very system that gives people a say, including his own supporters. At the end of the day, this isn't about election security. It's about silencing voices they're scared of. Oh, what do you think? Are you with Sam and Abby on this? That we should be making it easier, not harder, for people to vote? Or do you buy what the fearmongers are selling? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're vibing with this take, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.